Welcome back to Your Pick a Card. Thank you guys for tuning in. I really appreciate all of your support, and thank you for allowing me to read your energy. This reading's intentions were set for messages from your guides, the masters, and archangels. So I'll give you a moment to make your selection for group 1, 2, and 3. Feel free to pause the video if you need a little bit more time, and we'll go ahead and get started. The timestamp should be in the description box. If not, please check the chat. I'll pin them. And if you're interested in more information on the channel, check the About tab, as well as you can visit us on Etsy at astronauthoochie.etsy.com for any products and services. We'll go ahead and get started with group 1. We're using your archetype oracle cards. Bottom of the deck you have the Great Work, which reminds me of like the Three of Wands energy, and it's associated with the magnum opus. I may have some alchemists or magicians in the audience. Doesn't have to be. The Three of Wands is about preparation, and if you're preparing for the Great Work, that's what your guides are helping you with. The Great Work could be the thing you'll be known for, you know, the late great whoever, right? It could also talk about spiritual works to, I guess, relieve ourselves, is what they say, from a lot of karmic energy, reincarnations, and just being on the wheel of repeats in general. So your guides on the other side may be a range of whomever. This deck specifically has the star background. Many of you could have star collectives like the Andromedans, Pleiadians, Syrians, and so on and so forth. You could be a star seed. Sometimes the stars are those that have not incarnated yet, or our loved ones that may have already, you know, left the earth or whatnot. Well, clearly ain't left, they guiding you. So love and light to that. All right. We're going to start with your oracle cards, and then we'll go to the tarot. Let's get started. You have sap or sap of the moon plant, and then you have the androgen. All right. Now, something it's an ideology that could be out there somewhere, but I didn't hear it anywhere, and I just thought of it today, ironically. This card reminds me of the Two Swords only because of the two perched birds. For some of you, it could mean news, and like this news come in twos. It could be news about home life, family. And then notice the colors in these particular cards is what Kim Krantz asked us to do. So you do have a darker blue in the background of the moon plant card, and you have a lighter blue, the actual plant. So that's kind of cool. Now you have the moon and the sun, so it talks about duality, feminine, masculine, how you exude or transmute your powers. The thing that I thought about today about the spider, usually when I see spiders, the message for the spider is normally about protection. Now, I know by percentages there are a lot of people on this planet that are afraid of spiders. So I thought about fear and I thought about protection. And I know that I read for people who have guides that are protecting them, right? And then I thought about people who, like myself, may need protection from themselves. And then I thought about going down this rabbit hole, so I'm taking you with me. What saved me early in life? Or what was so different between myself and those that I admired, or a twin flame or something like that? And I just admired people's bravery. Like, my siblings used to do things that I'd never do out of fear of the consequences. My twin flame, same way. do things that I admired the freedom. I admired like the boss, in them. And these actually, because I don't have sisters, these were actually all males. So it's funny that I talked about like feminine and masculine energy. The point is, when I thought about protection, it's like my fears may have protected me from some of their consequences because I didn't have whatever they had that led them down the paths that they took. Okay, and the Three of Wands is also about a path, so that's kind of cool, which is the road less traveled. But my twin flame got into situations that are life-changing. I'm glad that I avoided them. And, my siblings, everything pretty much panned out, but I will say the experiences that we had as teenagers and like adults are way different. Where I may have seemed to have had it easier in life, right? So my fears protected me. And that's no different from when I see like the spider card, or I think about Kali Ma, or a lot of other goddesses, deities, or guides that are represented in the spider. Even if it's like the Wheel of Fortune itself, that we're talking about this rotation on the wheel and how it spins, right? And destiny and fate and our choices and being guided to possibly make different choices. I won't say better ones, right? So crazy that I was just thinking of this today after the last pick a card about the spiders and how I have a fear of spiders, I won't lie. And I'm trying to get over that because spiders, serpents, they have this ancient deep connection that it would be disrespectful to just pawn them off as like annoying insects, like especially if you're a spiritual person or you're guiding others that could be spiritual. So I was like, I got to get over this. But yeah, so we start your reading out with some ideologies that I might write down and put in a book because they're outlandish, right? They may sometimes lack intelligence and philosophy and all of that big wig, collar flipping stuff. But I thought of them that make sense to me, and they could, if nothing else, entertain others or provide another perspective along the way. So let's get into these cards and talk about the sap of the moon plant. Because for me, it sounded like some sort of liquid. I know when we talk about saps and milks and all that kind of stuff, for an alchemist or just any human being, especially that's on a spiritual path, there's different things that you can do with your human body, with your thoughts and your emotions, and how those chemicals produce things. And or it could just be symbolic to something that life is providing to you. And we'll talk about how to get it. So this particular card is the Nocturnal Sacred Water of the Unconscious. Look at that. That's kind of cool. It's an ancient substance, see, said to be born of water, plants, and moonlight. Ooh, some of you guys may be into like that stuff. I know I would sit some crystals out under the moonlight, or certain elixirs, okay, like it says here, for hoodoo or whatever you do, maybe water, plants, and moonlight may be significant, even if you're just cleaning your crystals. So this elixir develops in the depth of night and is thus a metaphor for the wellspring of the unconscious. When the alchemical magic is afoot, it's all about dreams. The answer you are seeking will not come from the intellect, nor the opinion of others. It will surface from the depths, as if rising from the ancient waters of your memory. The work is to rest, restore, and awaken your celestial senses. Do this by pausing, by releasing your grip. The sap of the moon plant signifies you are in the deep territory of destiny and the imagination. This is a mythic moment. The dream is waiting to show itself, but awaits your sincere invitation. Ask and rest. Ask and rest. All will be revealed. It says ponder to the divine feminine. Ooh, track your dreams for the next 3 nights. That's kind of cool. I haven't had a card like that for any of the picker cards just yet. So we are most definitely warming up. Now the next card, the androgen. Let's see what it has for you. And let's see, it is, ooh, and these cards are like, I've had this deck since she came out with the archetype cards, by the way, which was maybe 3-4 years ago. The fact that this one is on the table and that one is at the bottom of the deck, and look, they're right by each other in the book. That is so crazy. You have the wheel, you have these two diamonds here that makes this third thing, and the same for the circle, as well as the loops, okay? The androgen, creative transcendence, multiplicity, the artist. The androgen is a deeply revered image in alchemy born of Hermes and Aphrodite. Homorphodos, what is it? Okay, you see it, has been classically depicted as a balanced union of divine masculine, the sun, and divine feminine, the moon. Yet today's alchemist knows the androgen is far more nuanced than it encompasses the infinite spectrum and reveals itself in ever-changing non-binary forms. The divine, hermaphrodite, defies definitions as it is a deeply personal felt experience. Accessing this fluid and enlightened state requires us to slip into the contradictory realm of the senses. Breath by breath, we are drawn into our limbs, our fluids, our orifices, organs, and cells. We let go of rules and labels. Judgment is suspended. The gods are present, as are the creative mysteries of the underworld. For a brief moment, we hold all of our complexities in one loving form like a newborn. We know not our name, gender, age, or location. We are the embodied artist, embraced unconditionally by sun and moon. So, sexuality without language, intimacy without sexuality, that's kind of cool. And notice how you have the moon energy on this side that talks about some sort of elixir, and even the numbers glowing, honey. But over here, there's some sort of fluid, and it's kind of giving divinity, almost like temperance. And I noticed that the colors of the wands match the colors of the rainbows in the sky, and they mirror each other. So on both sides, like not missing any element, whereas sometimes fully being involved into the divine feminine, I don't want to say isn't divine, but true divinity is neutral. And I learned that about the sun and the moon. Okay, so this could be as simple, like if you stumbled upon this video and say, what are these people in here talking about? It was meant for you. Because I was casually just hanging out on social media. These people have this gender war thing going on in some communities, and it is a sight to see. You have some that talk about divine feminine, some talk about divine masculine, and then there's the toxic femininity and the toxic masculine, and so on and so forth. And even society itself has, in my opinion, by percentages, made a hierarchy to masculinity. So when I was just minding my business, reading a book, I saw that the sun isn't even masculine. The sun is neutral. And this is a fact by science and how it actually operates as far as the power that it exudes, and then how it, like I said, how it operates. So if the sun is neutral, Olivia, please stop. If the sun is neutral, of course I'm going to look into the moon, and guess what? Also neutral, which neutral makes something divine as it has equal parts. That's crazy. So I was like, these people are around here arguing and fighting about I'm the masculine, I'm the feminine, and then putting divine in front of it. But divine itself is neutral. So I don't know how that helps you, group one, but we're going to get into the tarot. That was a very specific message, and I don't know, it's a concept. So some of you guys could be bloggers or just like to know things, and there you have it. I asked Spirit to offer us some tarot. You have the King of Wands. Now the King of Wands is holding his rod facing the past. He could be thinking. It could be the past that gets him into the future, because at the bottom of the deck we have movement and we have the Knight of Wands. I'm going to take a clarifier for the King of Rods before I just go down the rabbit hole of what it means. Ooh, you have two kings. And usually when there's two kings, there is a power, something about a power structure, child, inside. There's passion over intellect. This card specifically asks that you go within to get this creative juice to flow. And some of you guys are artists. And so as an artist, no matter what type of art you're presenting, if I'm feeling that your guides are asking for you to follow them and allow them to show you. It could talk about planning, preparation, execution. It may even talk about where you get this wheat, okay, this harvest and all that you're looking for. While you could be very passionate, for some of us it's about understanding or just sticking to one script, because the King of Swords most definitely stands on business. I'll just say that. He also has his sword raised, and he done brought something with him. So I don't know if he's given it or if it's something that he took or received. But usually the wheat is connected to like the harvest or reaping what it is that you sow. Now the Hermit is most definitely on a spiritual journey, maybe even trying to find or understand the truth, or what passion even is, or what to do with the passion. I mean, most monks or spiritual beings, their passion is for peace. And so for some of you, this could be a peace of mind. And if peace of mind asks us to remove judgment, to find a calm, still place. For some of you, it's even meditation, to receive the messages. Because like the Hermit, I'm trying to give my puppy the mom face. Olivia, no, get down, please. No. And then she got over here anyway. Good Lord. Okay. So this internal creativity, the King of Wands has a connection to like the third eye messages. Some of you guys may even have a gift of remote observation, and your remote observation requires you, like 11, to go within, right, into consciousness. We did talk about this. See, some of y'all, that's what that your guides are trying to connect with you, possibly through meditation, or give you some information that you possibly aren't receiving. The King of Swords talks about communication. It is Gemini. Some of you may have a rising or a north node that also explains like what you could do for work. For some of you, the Hermit is Virgo energy and working in communication, writing, journalism, and things of that nature. Some of us may be focused on creativity, physical labor. This represents like a fitness trainer, a tattoo artist. It's just something unorthodox. And so for you, it could be just like we started with group 1, my unorthodox ideology. I've seen a lot of millennials like myself. We have some similar placements, and a lot of us are supposed to come up with new concepts for the next generations. So group 1, I feel that you're being asked to not go with the flow of social norms and or modern society, that you have a gift or some sort of purpose in this life, and your guides are trying to get you to that, which is the great work. So whether it's connecting you to get you, like Neo, out of that temporary situation, or to help you accomplish that thing that you'll be known for. Group 2. You guys have one of my favorite decks, and as you can see, even used on the intro. This is for the Masters, and I love the crest that Nicholas Bruno uses on this deck, because it is a compass. So you don't have to be in a group or a secret society. The compass is tarot, the guide, the directions. So I think that was super cool that he used that and implemented his name or family crest into it, as this is a tarot channel. And we'll get started with your tarot. My apologies, group 1's card was still at the bottom of the deck. And we will get, well, that was just the bottom of the deck, but I'm going to shuffle out your oracle cards first, and then we'll get into your tarot. So Spirit, what do we have for group 2? The first card you have is the reddening. At the bottom of the deck, we have sugar. Top of the deck, we have copper. And notice how the copper looks as like a covering to another stone, like turquoise or something like that. To cross or clarify the reddening. Okay. So I shuffled it out. It was the same cards. You guys have Against Nature. I knew I have a feeling for what it is, so I'm going to sit here and get started because these cards were right there with the reddening when it came out. So I want to make sure you can see it throughout the video. And we'll go ahead and get to it. Now, I love copper. I love copper for communication. I know that sounds like kind of Lord of the Ringish, right? But when I meditate and I have the copper like at my fingertips or on my third eye, I just feel like so much more connected and the meditation is that much more intense. So wanted to say that. Super love copper. So shout out to you, group 2. The reddening starts with the number 15. And 15 is connected to 6. Both of those numbers are connected to the Magician, and we have Capricorn, the devil. Now usually I don't go down the rabbit hole of, oh my God, what does this mean? But next to, well, you know, behind sugar is sometimes a thing that is like good to us, but it may not be good for us. So we'll see what the masters have to say about that for you, group 2. The reddening, oh my gosh, this is so specific. Now, I'm not a medical professional, and I'll try not to be, what is that? Project my perspective. But I mean, when the card sugar came out, and this talks about life force, kundalini, and blood. Okay? So just as a person that does advanced meditation and yoga, I do guided meditations, by the way, so shameless plug if you're interested in, and it's free, so I'm not going to tell you nothing, but I have a station that's connected to this station for quantum healing and NLP therapy, as well as hypnosis, but that's like more advanced and usually in person with some exceptions. If you want to check it out, go to the homepage here on YouTube. So just click on my logo or the name of the channel and scroll down to see my other channels. I have like a blog, my dogs, and what my real sole purpose is, right? So life force, kundalini, and blood. The reddening indicates a full expression of the work. Everything is alive. The heart pumps, the cells celebrate, and blood sings its way through the body. What was dormant has been awakened. What was once considered base is now noble. Aches and pains are integrated, shadows are acknowledged and interwoven. When the reddening card appears, it signifies health, power, a climaxing of the work, a coalescing of what has been learned. The laboratory is no longer separate from the alchemist or from the work, but the three are now one. Yes, okay. What occurs in the body is reflected in the world, and vice versa. Through the process of reddening, we move out of the head and into the physical body. More specifically, we reach the heart. It is there the alchemist finds the sacred ingredients of power and kindness. Because power for me is the emperor, and of course kindness is always the empress. And to have them together and saying that you could reach this level within yourself is super dope, because they're both very crucial and important aspects of the fool's journey in tarot. The red of the heart. Take note of how many cards in your reading contains the color red. You may sense the physical vitality of the current by the presence and absence of this life force color. Now you have the actual opposite, okay, color for copper, but we do have more cards to show. All right, that's like kundalini energy. It's like the serpent that they say, you know, it's like at the base of the spine. Because the number 15 is sometimes connected to the underworld, it points to the root chakra. So for some of us, the root chakra is important. And notice over here you have the square, as I mentioned, the emperor vibes and power. And I kindness. Empress is very kind. She's like, Mary Poppins or whatnot. The square over here. So you have nature that either points to the Empress or these little black and white low vibrational worm looking beings that points to the underworld. It's like all together. It's like underworld energy, the square for the Emperor. And as I mentioned, the Empress, you do got flowers and gold and all that kind of stuff. So everything that's intertwined at the base of what is rising, it shows has some sort of significance to the card at the bottom of the deck, which I am kind of curious to read. So I don't think anyone else would get jealous if I read you guys an extra card. So we're going to see what it's talking about. But first, we're going to go to copper. Oh, look at that. Venus. In ancient times, on an island called Cyprus, copper was mined extensively to make vessels and tools. Okay? Because the magician is the vessel and the tools are what he carries around. But hey, I'm just saying, this island is the same fertile ground of Aphrodite, the goddess associated with the planet Venus and the forces of love, pleasure, and fertility. Such is the magic of copper. The golden-hued metal elicits delight and mystique, even a sense of awe. The copper card marks the arrival of Eros. Ooh, so that's desire. With that number 15 right there. Okay, group 2. It says against nature. So, we had a video about that a little bit, where the devil card was in our approach to take to it. It was just yesterday. So some of you are in here and probably saw it. And it was like, if you don't be honest with yourself, or if we're repressing our desires, our true desires, like for real, because we are allowed grace to figure out who we are, right? So and you're figuring out like who you are, you're allowed to be honest. If it's weird shit or just something that makes you uncomfortable, to do the work, you have to deal with that. You have to acknowledge it. You have to experience it. You can't just say, oh no, some past belief, my cousins, this book, this group says that it's not, and I shouldn't. It could even be, how so many of us are interested in content creating or entrepreneurship or retiring. And then you have some that feel, oh no, a practical job, even at entry level, is fine because life is hard, and who cares if you can't be over there with them? Like, that ain't, none of who in our family has ever had that. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like going against the grain or whatever. And you actually listening to them could be against nature, your nature. Some others of us, it's talking about nature as in where we live, and then also your nature. Yeah, so that's what I'm getting, like the actual nature as in the planet, and then nature as in with ourselves. So that makes sense as well, because nature is still tradition and what has always been, or what is natural, right? And so our nature is the same. It's something that we can't figure out. Nobody taught us. Your parents won't take credit for it. I don't know where they got that from. We didn't raise you like that or whatever. So, because I had this, my mom said that, because I think my dad was more like me, but my mom was like, I always had this child activist thing going, is what she said. She was like, because I would just take up for my brothers or question her about like parenting us, and you can't just tell me anything. It has to make sense, or you have to tell me why. And I'm talking about 2, 4, 5, 6 years old, she said. So that's my nature. Growing up, going to law school or starting a business or working in administration while I was in college in corporate America made sense, because it's like I want to figure it out. And, I'm very direct, so I could possibly manage. And I don't like to be micromanaged, or you're going to be very uncomfortable and have a hard time trying to do it to me. So things like that. But anyway, the golden hued metal elicits delight and mystique. I think I read that part. The copper card marks the arrival of Eros, is where I left off at, and I got like distracted because Eros and the devil card could talk about like your desires, deep down ones. It says that it is likely the alchemist has been hard at work for too long, prioritizing scholarly pursuits over sexual pleasure. Okay, group 2, get ready for a shift of priorities, for an awakening of the heart and the life generating centers of the body. In the true alchemical experiment, nothing is excluded or separate from the work. See what I'm saying? So it's like, for some of you, okay. Not for everyone, because I may have some married or widowed seniors respectfully in our audience, like, what are they in here doing? There's something for everyone, so just bear with, okay? Now, this card talks about chocolate contains copper. Yes, I do like chocolate. All right. In esoteric wisdom traditions, Venus and copper are associated with the kidneys. A letting go is likely required in order to embrace Eros with the arms, with open arms. And so kidneys, all right, now back to, my brain clicks and connects dots. Right? You got the key, you got the Hierophant, you got some other ancient symbols there. 3 lines, 6 dots, an X, okay? And then you got the same thing without the dots over here. Kidneys, sugar, the devil, which is discipline and order, with the square. It's like Venus, especially when there are transits, we want everything. We'll indulge in things. It could be food, it could be alcohol, it could be shopping, it could be rom-coms, binge watching. You don't do it all the time, but you'll do it sometimes. And so I'm seeing that we should just be mindful, possibly, about some conditions that may be not organic in the body. Okay, gonna point that out, especially the blood, and something that could be corroding it, because this copper looks to be corroded with the good stuff, because the good stuff is like this turquoise or this beautiful Venus stone or whatever, and so you think that the copper is the crap, but no, it's the copper card, and it's like it's kind of like the other stuff is coming through it, or it don't look, does it look like copper that you go in a metaphysical store and say, I want to buy some copper beads for meditation? You think it's gonna look like that? So just be mindful of whatever that is, okay? And some of us, where we've been basic and boxed in, it's about to get a little beautiful or whatever. So I like that too, whatever the case may be, as we talk about fertility and the womb and Venus, but then we go into your kidneys. You know what? I don't mean to be inappropriate. I won't, because I just know some guys that would say something like that if this was about like some sort of situation. They would say some shit like that. I'm all up in her kidneys with it, but that was back in my younger days. Your tarot cards here. Say I'm lying. Say that I'm lying. The tarot cards that we have here, you got a 6. I told you that 15. I told you. Judgment, the 3 of Wands and the 6 of Wands. Now, the 3 of Wands and the 6 of Wands together, I don't care if they upside down, right, left, bottom, or top. It definitely represents some sort of success, reward, attention, you getting something for doing something, and it's amazing. However, the advice could be those 6 wands if those 3 wands are a challenge for judgment, which normally talks about angelic beings. And if we're talking about masters, it could reference the master, or even an archangel, even though that's not the deck that you guys picked, where there's the Akashic records, or a master is here inviting you guys to another dimension. It could be shifting your reality. Judgment also talks about the past and things coming back from it. So it could be people, and it comes in threes. You might get a phone call here and a phone call there and a phone call everywhere. And everybody has an idea or are going to ask you a question, and you have to consider if your nature is like, I don't want to say passive aggressive or a yes man or yes woman. Just be mindful of that, where the square and it says squaring up, order, control. This is like not folding or being like, corroding the copper with sweetness or passiveness, or not just really being direct. Judgment also points to making a decision and like letting it be that decision. Like now you have to make a final decision. Like you might have been thinking about something, going back and forth with it, but it is time. He's looking at them like it is time. And it's so crazy. Like I love when Spirit does this, because it's not just the interpretation of the cards, it's also the pictures. But to put the Judgment card here with 3 people literally, and then the same 3 people who set out to go on this journey, which talks about preparation, and then just like moving forward, the road less traveled. Like they were at a crossroad of some sort. The crossroad could also talk about the in between like past and future, or life and death, or whatever. It could be some life and death situations, right? And it's like, I know now that there is a God, or there is this and there is that, because you've had some experiences that could have gone another way and didn't. Okay, so what do you do with that awareness? Do you go preach at the mountaintop? That is crazy. Some of you definitely should, because why not? All right. And I know that this is a very serious message for some of you, because when the bird pulls up outside and I look over and see him, I'm like, okay, I'm going in the right direction, because sometimes I can get creative and all that shit. But they're sitting there like providing a message for somebody very important. So if you're into, I don't know if it's a crow or a raven, but it is in a direction of the past for some of you guys, and a yes. So you got yes here and you got past there, okay? Whatever that means. Maybe if you wanted to know if you passed or if you did something right, if you've been praying or meditating or asking questions, if you've been trying something that's like a ritual, you did some hoodoo, I don't know, you could have made you a candle or rubbed 2 sticks together. All right, there is a pass and maybe a few yeses. Okay, if that means that you're going to get a lot of attention and somebody could come to you, or a situation could present itself, and we have against nature, and we got sugar, and we got Venus, and we got the devil, and we got desire. Just be mindful that we could need to pass on something for the yeses that we actually want. Okay, so I do hope that that helps group 2, and we will move to group 3. Group 3, you chose archangels. And I love that, because I'm a huge fan of all of them, especially Metatron. So this is one of my favorite decks, and what you guys don't know is we actually used all of my currently favorite decks. Even the fact that I implemented, that was in the past reading, I implemented some of the Wild Unknown cards. So I'll make sure that I give you one too. All right, so we will do the Oracle cards, and then we'll get to your Archangel cards and see what Spirit has for us. There's a little bit of resisting. Oh, because of Mars. Okay, a little bit of that ego, a little bit of that fire that needs to be healed. Ooh, okay, I'm gonna keep shuffling because I like the story that it's telling. This, before we take the cards, right? I saw wise salt, I saw healing, I saw Mars, And so sometimes when we experience things in life and we don't heal them, if we repress them, one way that we kind of get over it so that we can continue to live is it's like the and if I have any fellas here, just hear me out. It could talk about a lady in your life, child, or some lady in the audience. But the Queen of Cups, not properly handling her emotions, and even the conscious and the subconscious and intuition, seems to sometimes turn into the Queen of Swords, and not because it's like the next phase and you graduated, which it absolutely could be, if we're talking about like the trifecta of life or fate and the mother maiden crone type deal, maiden mother crone. So I do get that. But just also imagine a person who could have been open and loving. Because I've been listening to Sade for 2 days. And I'm goofy. When I listen to Sade and even some Lauryn Hill's recent YouTube videos, their pain is so beautiful. But you can't help but to notice, like, even though they're artists and these are just songs, you can't tell me somebody ain't hurt these people. Now, I don't know them personally. But just imagine, you know, a cousin or somebody you may know personally that has this capacity to love other people, whether it's a relationship or like what they wanted out of life, because we can become bitter and a little cold and upset. And it doesn't have to be a relationship. But that's what I was getting from the shuffle, where there's this dominant energy of Mars, because I don't want to say masculine, especially to no chick with the way the world is right now on social media. I'm like, why do y'all keep saying that to these women just to gaslight them so they can start talking about y'all man bags? And I just log off. But some dominant energy of Mars with wise salt, healing, and whatever the first card was that I saw that I don't forgot now. It just gave me a hardening. It gave me force and like this either intelligence that is being used to not deal with emotions, and also like a bitterness though. So I don't know who that's for because the cards didn't come out, but I'm shuffling and it was just showing me, and I was like, ooh, that's like when the Queen of Cups turns into the Queen of Swords, and that wasn't her destiny. It just happened because of her experiences. So just be mindful of that. Okay, so let's get the actual cards for you, group 3. But it's like, oh, I gotta share that. That is insane, because then the Raven card showed, and the Raven is kind of like the sage or the wise one that chose somebody for something, but there was this energy of, you know, what it was and what it turned into, that it may not supposed to be. Okay, and then here's my clarifier, like, yes, that is it. Oh man, this is so good. This is better than cards, because like I'm channeling stuff and I'm excited, but I still want to shuffle out some cards to get you guys on the table. But I will say, I have this friend, and I think this person is like super sweet, super cool, super like just cool, right? I'm gonna say that to not like come up with any other adjectives. But who he's trying to turn into, or who he said he's always been, and I just refuse to believe it, is this other energy that is the opposite of him, because it seems that the younger society doesn't appreciate integrity and wholesomeness, or loyalty and mature, you know, faithful marriages and all that kind of stuff. Some people think the newer generation is in shambles. I do not. But I told him, especially since he was a Christian, because he just denounced his own religion, because he was like, I don't believe in what they believe in no more. Just because of how he feels about marriage. I honestly think that's what it is. And that is crazy. But that's that becoming bitter and hardening, when you were a decent person that was a follower of Christ and was supposed to be possibly like this messenger on earth to at least try to help others or spread the word, whatever religious people do. But instead, you wrapped up in arguing with people on Instagram and gaslighting girls because you hurt. And you see, you get what I'm saying? Okay, group 3. Now let's get these cards out. Because Spirit let me do that. Group 1 and Group 2, no problem, got those cards out. You got the number 9 with Neptune. We got some illusions. And then look, ooh, you got some chaos. God damn, we dealing with the Magician. Oh, Group 3, what's going on? See, I don't know if it's in somebody we dating, in our environment, in our lives, but Neptune can sometimes talk about that creative energy of illusion. It's a little bit aloof and dreamy. And with chaos and the fog, we have fate and the web that we weaving. And you also have the despicable face. The despicable face is like the face we can't see, like we can't even imagine ourselves. Okay, and it also talks about somebody that could do or has done something unimaginable. Oh my gosh, how did I know it was coming? Because it was just like, I was like, where are we going with this? With, the Queen of Cups done. So let's get it cracking with Neptune. It could be something as simple as where it falls in your chart. So make sure to check the horoscopes or your natal chart. You have divinity, mysticism, and seeking. Forgiveness as medicine. See, man, look, I'm telling you. Neptune is the mystic's planet. Its transcendent energy projects toward the heavens. When the Neptune card appears, the seeker archetype is activated and doorways to new dimensions open. A voice whispers from beyond the earthly plane, perhaps calling you to a pilgrim or a new spiritual practice. Or you may experience a meditative bliss beyond your wildest dreams. Divinity has arrived, whether you call it nirvana, samadhi, enlightenment, or just good old serenity. Amidst your spiritual awakening, remember that ultimately the work is not about you, okay? The work is about what's bigger than you. Stay grounded in that reality, and you're likely to avoid Neptune's pitfall of narcissism and escapism. History shows us examples of spirituality turned madness, so keep your woo-woo tendencies in balance with a little selfless service. Yeah. I ain't gonna lie. This person I know could have, if they were watching YouTube pick a cards, I know that ego, they probably wouldn't have made it through half of this paragraph. So if you feel a little bit uncomfortable, I promise you this message is for you. And if you're a Pisces or a Scorpio, I know you probably gonna unfollow me today, but the King of Cups and Shadow is just what I said in this book. Narcissism could also be connected to air signs, because in Greek mythology, it was actually connected to Gemini, but it could be connected to anybody that's, what seems like bigger than their pants or something, I don't know. But that's crazy. All right, so the next card we have is Chaos. And see, chaos in mysticism is celebrated, though. Don't get me wrong. Don't leave yet, Group 3. Hear me out. Chaos is like what provokes change and growth and what removes fear. Because if you can survive it, whatever after that, what you'd be scared of. This talks about disoriented, spinning, groundlessness. Ooh, Neptune with groundlessness. I don't know if that's my favorite. But when an alchemist sits in their laboratory amidst the presence of massa confusa, which is chaos, something miraculous is bound to occur. So look at that. That's because this card, this state is so powerful and all-encompassing that it typically overwhelms the student to the point of despair. Such is the nature of chaos. It is the grand trickster, the topsy-turvy confusion that turns life on its head and spins a web not even the wisest mystic can untangle. Baffling, yes. Disorienting, yes. But the seasoned alchemist recognizes it as the most potent point in the alchemical experiment. Wait, observe, do nothing. It is destiny itself that spins the web. Clarity will emerge one strand at a time. Your only tact is to breathe. Do not struggle. The three fates hold you in their sight as you free fall toward freedom. Yes, free falling toward freedom says that you pretty close to that 21, which is the world card. And whatever unexpected events, instability, or chaos you could be experiencing, you heard what it said. I think the safest place, they say, is the stillness in the eye of the storm. Okay? Because it might be some tricky shit that don't look right, or it's just, I've experienced that. I call it the twilight zone. Because, like Kevin Gates said it, no one understands me and everybody can be slow. Well, he didn't even say understands him. Well, maybe he did, but I took it as like no one understands and everybody can be slow. Like, that's Twilight Zone. When you know for sure something, it could be calling customer service. I ain't gonna say no company names, but I called this one company that I did business with, and I was just like, are you kidding me? For 3 weeks straight trying to get one problem solved, and it was like I was talking to toddlers, to the point to where canceling my service or just not calling them at all is all I could do to be sane. Even though I don't like taking L's, and I will be the first person at the court office to sue somebody. I didn't even have the energy for that. They were so dumb, and it was just so annoying and so whatever. It didn't make sense, and it was just, and it brought something out of me right here that was unnecessary and giving 22-year-old me, right? So I was just like, oh no. I mean, I went off a couple times, I ain't gonna hold you. But when I noticed, like the book said, when I noticed what was going on, I was like, oh, I gotta get out of here, baby, because I'm gonna hurt somebody. So there's that, which turned out way better than I thought, because some of the energies was like, where we going with this? And then how it played out showed that you could be dealing with those experiences and people like that. So it's telling you that the crazier it seems, like sometimes they even say that about manifesting, like the crazier it seems, the more it doesn't make sense, you could be closer than you think, okay? So now for your beautiful messages. And if anybody cares, I know it looks a little crazy, but these are Heckmeyer diamonds, which are some of my favorites. It amplifies the intentions of anything. So like the cinnamon and the quartz, I got some diamonds on the table for you. And what is it? The beeswax and the regular wax. And I got some herbs up in there, just amplifying all that we need. Some creativity, some thought, some action, some peace, some calm, some advice. And it is YouTube, so to be entertained. Now, Spirit, can I have some cards for my group 3 from the Masters? And notice that all the decks were blue. We had navy blue, royal blue, and electric blue. So, Metatron, Michael, all of y'all though, really. And it would have been nice for the Masters if I had used like the Archangel cards. Or the Ascended Master card. So I'll get you guys some, but I just thought of it just now. You have multidimensional, you have coherence, and notice oh man, you play too much. You got 33 and 1. 1 is Neo, right? That broke through the matrix, and then 33 is a master number. Not really an archangel, but an ascended master, so I'll take it. And then you got 31. I am not gonna play. Some of you guys, 3s and 1s may be important. Okay. And I'm going to take one more, unless that's all. But the other groups got, I think, like 3 or so. So I'm going to see. Okay, boom. You got 3 because I was about to stop shuffling. Ooh, I love that. So the 8th ray, possibly for some of you guys, or the 3rd. Just take a look at that. Even, I don't know why. That is crazy because I keep doing it. The rays are also connected to ascended masters and not archangels. So it also talks about direction. There are numbers that are associated with the, and I ain't gonna leave y'all hanging. There are numbers associated with the archangels and the ascended masters and archangels. The number 8 is very significant. So for you, group 3, the archangel, I think, is Uriel. Thank you, Spirit. And the spirit was like, I'm here with you, baby, because I know you didn't even think that through. These people want to hear about archangels and masters and guides. I was focusing on the information they wanted you to know, but who could be on your side, it's important as well. The spirit told me to shut up. Okay, so multidimensionality. The frequency of multidimensionality activates our awareness of our true essence, which is eternal and multidimensional. You have coherence with the number 13 that is connected to death and Scorpio, as well as spirit and transformations. The frequency of coherence supports our ability to harmonize the frequency of the heart with the frequency of the mind for an optimal ability to create the reality that we desire. Now, I don't want us to forget, because this energy is so Uriali, right? This is totally different from where we just were. So I don't want you guys to forget that. And keep that in mind, because Neptune is an energy that would help us. It allows us to open up to even be consciously aware or even fathom the idea of multidimensionality. It's a very spiritual, elusive, magical energy with coherence. So coherence is harmonizing. It's not just connecting, it's almost a blending, right? And from the looks of it, this purple with this very bright, card, the coherence is here. So multidimensionality and abundance. I feel that for some of you, that's in reference to who you are in some other paradigm right now, what you were in a past life and where you are now. That's what I feel like. And abundance, it says, the energy of abundance activates our ability to manifest the wealth we need and the sense of fulfillment that comes from a heart and soul that are overflowing with love and gratitude. So 2 cards mentioning the heart. 1 mentions activating and awareness as well as essence. So some of you could work on the heart chakra. If you've been attracting people and situations in your life that just don't serve you, or wondering why, even if after you've done that, it still seems like the same, because we talked about the Queen of the Queen of Cups and the what's her name? Oh, was that the group 2? Okay, my bad, group 3. Well, some of y'all might have been nosy and kept going to hear they reading. so 2 things can be true in multidimensionality, where something could be happening in the physical world that is not happening in the spiritual world. In the spiritual world, you could be rich, because I'm looking at this purple, but then it's a shadow of the box, kind of still containing it. And I ain't gonna lie, group 2 had a card against nature. They had a box that was just like this, but there were worms in the box and all that, but still had this same background. So maybe that's why I'm tripping like that. So that card talked about going against nature and judging things. But this card says that if it's multidimensional, it probably isn't super judgy, because it's like, oh, okay, humans do that. And oh, okay, this person does that. And Uriel is a very non-confrontational energy that coincidentally is connected to abundance. So it's like, if you are one way, but in another aspect of your life may want this thing, Uriel is like, I'm abundance because I am this overall, or it is my nature. I don't know if I can have an abundance of one thing over here, but my nature contradicts it on the other side. You know what I mean? I want to say that without being judgy myself, and then, like I said, the coherence is like harmony, which is kind of like, I don't care if it's like 2 of cups or whatever. So just thinking about if you had a 3 and a 4 with harmony and an 8. It's like, what are you talking about? Well, 3s are a stabilizing energy after the change of 2, which is the Empress. And the Empress is also connected to abundance. But she has multiple sides, and her shadow side, more dominant, she would be the Emperor, because the Emperor back in the day, there's this folklore where he cross-dressed, I suppose, and came in as the Empress because I guess he wanted an outcome, or I'm gonna mess the story up. I don't know it because I was shocked to even read it. But it's kind of like the undercover boss thing that I brought up on the channel the other day. Like, if I don't want you to know who I am, I want your natural reaction without it's like I want to see something. It may not be a reaction, but it's just like I want to observe or see how things go if I'm not like who I actually am, because if you knew who I was, then you would maybe behave differently. So I think that has something to do with the emperor and coming in as the empress or whatever. But in this particular thing, the 3 is connected to the empress. The square is in this photo though. And when I think about the empress in a dominant stance, she's overprotective. Very overprotective. And can be kind of nitpicky and bratty and have these expectations that can't nobody accommodate. And, you know, the challenge could be this number 13 and harmony. So just keep that in mind regardless of what it is, because you could be a beautiful soul that don't bother nobody, and it's just this oracle deck. And if I had used another oracle deck, all it says is, I want to give you what it is that you want, but don't micromanage the universe. Fate is one thing. Yes, what your natal chart says, what you're used to, what's in your mind. But I got this. And if we can get you to understand that fate is one thing and destiny is another thing, and how things with harmony and coherence support our ability to create the reality we desire. And then the outcome and the advice is pointing to abundance, which is Uriel, and talks about a sense of fulfillment, gratitude, love, because you're about to get this freedom, and it activates our ability to manifest the wealth and the need and the sense of fulfillment. So it's like you don't just get abundance and then still want to bang your head on the pillow because you're bored. Because, you know, it's a lot of people with a lot of money and they're still not happy. So this card specifically says you're manifesting wealth and the sense of fulfillment. So you won't be rich and then spiritually poor. Just like you won't be financially poor and then spiritually rich, which is how some of us may feel. Like, I'm rich in spirit, but pockets kind of light. And that could be changing for you. So group 3, I do hope that it helps.